Welcome to SLW Podcast. This is episode 2, and today we're going to be interviewing James, also known as Dr. Seuss. You want to lay down a beat for us, Dr. Seuss?
No, I'm not ready yet.
Okay. So, we are going to begin with James's story and how he grew up, his early childhood.
You better lose at the moment. You know that you never ever let it go. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow.
This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. Okay, now we got that out. Let's start with your early childhood. Specifically, let's start with your parents' story.
Mom and dad met whenever they were 19. My dad was going to Jimmy Swaggart's church. His youth pastor was Dino Rizzo, as we all know, Fashizo. My mom's pastor was at Christian Life, and his name was Rusty Domain.
Yeah. All these names sound familiar.
So both my mom and dad had just met. They ran into each other. I think they were at Christian Life. My mom was doing a scavenger hunt.
Yes.
Which is, common.
Yep.
Christians like to do scavenger hunts. It's exciting for them.
I did plenty of those.
Mm-hmm.
It's exciting for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
My dad was hanging out up at Christian Life because Jopi Percival was a security guard there. That's where my parents met.
So who's Jopi Percival to your dad? Is it a family friend or high school friend?
My dad grew up with the Percival family. So Jimbo Percival was my dad's best friend most of his life.
Okay, cool.
And Jimbo Percival has like 4 or 5 brothers. And and so that's who we grew up with mainly.
Yeah, cool. So tell me a little bit more about how your parents met. What was the day like?
Whenever they met, my mom was on a scavenger hunt. My dad was hanging out with Jopi Percival, and he was playing piano up on stage. And he jumped off the stage, and he went and met my mom. My dad told her that he spoke Spanish.
What?
Which he does not speak even one word of Spanish. And then
Whatever. He had to get the girl.
And then my dad also told her that he played piano, which at the time I think he maybe knew 1 or 2 chords.
Poquito, poco.
Yeah, pequeño on the Spanish and the piano. My mom was a virgin. My dad had past relationships with people, but both were single at the time when they met. So my mom and dad started fooling around.
Like most.
They had sex.
Yeah.
And they immediately felt guilty. During that time, I think there was a big purity culture that was being taught, and so if you were having sex outside of marriage, it was considered a sin, and you were outside of God's will.
Okay.
So as a result, they felt extremely guilty, and they'd only known each other for maybe a couple months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had only been Christians for maybe a couple years. They had been involved in the youth group. My dad, whenever he was a little bit younger, maybe 15, 16. So they were both fairly new to Christianity. So they started having sex. My mom felt extremely guilty. My dad felt extremely guilty. So they went and met with my mom's youth pastor.
Yeah, Rusty.
Which was Rusty. They had been seeing each other for 3 months. Rusty told him, "I'm about to leave to go on a missions trip to Africa. Whatever you guys do not get married." So that's what they did. They got married. And my mom told me that on their honeymoon, she was looking up how to get a divorce. And realized that she would have to go through like a lengthy process. And so whenever they had me, my mom began to pour all of her affection into us.
Yeah.
And then the hatred for my father began to grow because I think that she felt trapped. Just from my perspective, I think they probably felt shame at the churches that they were at for having
Yeah.
had sex outside of marriage, and then they were guilted into marrying, in which they did, and they just also disobeyed what the
Oh, it's hitting them from every corner.
yeah also disobeyed what the youth pastor had told them to do, which honestly, like a person like that, I don't think should be able to tell people like, hey, don't do this, don't do that. Um,
Yeah, that makes
that's
sense.
just my personal opinion
Yeah.
because I think people should have their own free will. But
Yeah.
after they got married and they went to Bethany,
Oh, okay, cool. Hey,
and
wait. Go to my family.
yeah, so that's how I was raised at Bethany. So whenever they went to Bethany, Rick Bezet one day brought my mom and my dad in for like a private meeting, and evidently Rusty
Mm-hmm.
had called Rick Bezet and said, "Hey, these two are out of order. They're
Yeah.
not. They didn't listen to my authority. I'm letting you know that they're bad news, and you probably need to meet with them and discuss what their intentions are in leaving the other church and coming to this church." So that's what Rick Bezet did. He met with my parents, asked them what their agenda was, and I don't know what was said in that meeting, but obviously now that they were married, they were in good graces and they weren't
Mm-hmm.
having sex outside of marriage.
Isn't
And
it?
so then they were accepted
Oh
into
goodness.
Bethany Church,
Uh
and that was my parents' initiation
huh.
into Bethany.
Isn't that something?
Not
How?
shortly after that,
I was,
here comes me,
that's what my next question
the
was.
oldest.
So, not long after they got married, do you happen to know when they got married or?
When they got married, my mom was 19, my dad was 20.
Okay. Oh, so they literally got married not long
Within that
after.
year, they had me.
You have how many siblings and how far apart is everyone from?
We're all like relatively maybe 2 to 4 years apart,
Yeah.
roughly.
Yeah.
Me and my dad are about 20 years apart, which is crazy when you say it because like I still to this day feel like a kid to him. I've never really in his eyes matured to an adult.
Yeah, I can attest to that.
Yeah.
So, like, what are some of your first memories growing up in the home? What was your childhood
Um
like?
so I grew up in the country. I think whenever my parents got married, their idea was to right their wrongs and to fix their mistakes by raising a uh, a perfect family, like almost like Little House on the Prairie.
I never saw it as that way, and I'm being for real right now, like an epiphany. Wow,
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. Your poor
yeah.
family, my God.
I was raised on a farm. All of our food was organic. So my parents like didn't shop really at
What did a typical um weekly meal plan look like for your family?
we had somewhat normal meals, but like everything was from like what we called a co-op. So it was brand cereal that had no flavor. My parents had goats and they would milk them and we drank goat milk. Um,
What was that like?
it was disgusting. They would try to switch it up and put it into cow's milk bottles to trick us, and it was still gross.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Holidays were extremely important. We were like your typical American family, but I was raised in the country.
what was that like being in the country?
We always had like 5 to 10 acres. I grew up in Denham Springs. I was homeschooled. My parents kept me extremely sheltered. So I had like maybe one or two friend groups. And then I grew up with the Percivals as well.
How was your dad during that time? Because I'm sure you felt.
Yeah, my dad was pretty much a workaholic my entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was not mentally present because he couldn't deal with the hostility that was going on. So every time my father would come home, there was constant quarreling, and so his home life he pretty much shut out. Uh, he never disciplined us. My mom was the one that would always discipline us. If we were bad, my mom would send us to my father's work, and then my father would work, and we would just run around and kind of do what we wanted.
What was his work life like? What did
Uh,
he do?
when my dad ended up doing the same thing that his father did,
Mm-hmm.
which is he started an RV dealership.
Okay.
He would buy and sell RVs, and I can imagine him being a young father, probably did almost the same thing I did. Just did whatever you were familiar with to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And so that's what he went into, and he grew a successful RV dealership, but was hardly present
Yeah.
mentally. He was physically there, and he would wrestle with us,
Yeah.
but we never had deep conversations with my father. We never talked about anything going on in the home. Very few times we went fishing, or some of my best memories with my dad. Probably like 4 or 5 times I can remember where we went fishing with my dad as a child, and then a few times to the beach.
Yeah.
That was like my handful of memories.
You realized your home was tense, so you
Oh
picked.
yeah, constant yelling, constant slamming the door. They would try to hide it.
Yeah.
But whenever we would go to church, they would argue on the way to church, and then they would try to, put on face whenever they went into church and pretend like nothing had happened,
Yeah.
which was strange to me because I didn't understand as a kid why they were one way, you know, sometimes, and then a different way another time
Yeah. Would
with
you
him.
say you felt loved in your home?
No, my parents would abuse us, like hit us in the head with like a brushes, or if we were being like too loud while they were trying to talk, they'd get really aggravated us, and they would be physically abusive.
Like the same scripture that we use, like spare the rod, spoil the child, or
Yeah, so they believed in discipline, but a lot of times my dad would just get agitated at me, and then he would like reach around from driving, and he would hit me and tell me to shut up.
yeah,
Yeah, that sucked.
it's traumatic for a kid, you know?
Yeah, and then they would teach us that the Ten Commandments. That was what we were taught growing up.
Yeah. Do you did your mom and dad practice those things at home with you guys, or was it something that you just did on Sundays and Wednesdays, or cell group, or
I remember my mom teaching us like one scripture, but I think what their focus was on overall was implementing the doctrines that the church was teaching them through like um what was there was a certain curriculum, the Dobson family. There was like a
oh,
model family that
oh,
that
that
all the
sounds
people during that
familiar.
time followed.
Really? I like it sounds familiar, but it was never implemented in my home. But
Yeah.
could you tell me a little bit about curse-free TV?
Yes. Uh so strangest thing, I grew up where my dad was a big movie buff, and he loved watching movies, but he would like uh always jump in front of the screen if there was a part where people kissed. If there was like cursing, we weren't allowed to watch it. So like one day there came out this thing, and they sold it at the Christian bookstore, and it was called Curse Free TV, and it would substitute curse words with Christian
Like
words.
Christianese words?
Yeah, like it would substitute crap, or oh shoot, or
Really?
dang it. It didn't really know what to say with the words like fuck though. I remember it would just bleep them out. Beep. There was no substitute for fuck.
I wanted one so bad so that I could just watch other movies in
Yeah.
that time. But I'm sure you guys were like, you probably didn't know a difference at that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, as I got a little bit older, my dad started taking me to the Christian bookstore, and he would let me listen to like alternative rock, Christian rock.
Okay.
So definitely nothing secular. And then he would pick through the songs, and he would listen to them and make sure that they were okay. Before he would let,
Golly.
and I remember him telling me on several CDs that I liked, he was like, "No, those people aren't really Christians." their lyrics aren't Christian.
So how did you feel about that as a kid? Did it make you want to listen to them more, or did you just?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So like at first I didn't. At first I just listened to them.
Yeah.
Because that started at the age of 9, 10, 11.
Yeah. You just kind of go with the
But
flow.
pretty much once they split up, I just started doing what I wanted to. I lost any respect that I had for my parents.
When did they divorce?
They divorced whenever I was 11. The fighting just continued to get worse. I remember they took us to Disney World kind of as like our final.
They did that for me too.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like our final trip as a family, and they yelled to the point where like we had to leave the park early one day, and my grandma like
Oh God.
yeah brought us to the hotel because they like were yelling so much. Yeah, my mom felt trapped there her entire marriage, and she felt like it was her obligation to God to stay married, and like they followed the Bible like a set of laws, and so for certain things like having sex, they would schedule their sex.
Sorry.
I'm serious.
I know,
That
but it's just.
that's how me, or that's maybe not me, but that's how my brother and my sister were born, was
Oh my God.
because they had sex like maybe once every 2 to 3 years.
What?
Yeah, and they would schedule it, and then my mom would end up pregnant, and then she would have a child, and it would kind of keep her going in the relationship, having that new baby.
Good Lord.
Yeah, and then they would lead marriage counseling groups, and they would lead marriage home groups.
Why aren't we seeing this? It.
You know why? Because church leaders don't really give a shit what's going on in your private life. All they
Oh,
care
Jesus.
about is are you going to be able to lead more people so that we can have more attendance?
For what reason, James Aaron? For what reason do they need more attendance?
We'll get into that later.
So you said your parents divorced when you were about 11 years old. What was the final straw? Do you remember that?
Um, yeah, because I was still being homeschooled all the way up until this point. My parents, I remember they sat us down and they said, "Hey, your mom and I have been arguing a lot," as if we didn't
Of course.
know. We need to work on our relationship, so your mom's gonna get a separate house, and I'm gonna stay in the house that we built together. Um, and we're gonna work on it. And that's the last conversation that I had with my parents together.
That made my heart sink.
Yeah.
Made my stomach drop.
And they told me, they never told me that they were divorcing. I just found out because we never got back together.
Really?
And then my mom's boyfriend, who was one of my dad's former employees, moved into my mom's house.
Did you like pick up on?
It was weird. But since I had never developed my own thought process
Yeah.
by making decisions for myself, I always just went along with what everybody else was doing, and normalized things that were not normal.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of what the church teaches, though.
Yeah, follow without question.
Yeah.
So at the age of 12, I remember my dad's former employee, who I knew as a employee. I remember always take us fishing and stuff. He's now living with us. He's now dating my mom. So like
Did you like him? Did it like
I
make you feel
loved I
funny
loved him.
or?
Yeah, because you know what? As messed up as the circumstances were, he actually spent more time with me than my dad did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he would take me fishing a lot.
Oh no.
Yeah. That's that was probably like the hardest thing
Yeah.
as an adult having to deal with, having a father who was there but was never mentally present.
Yeah.
And so whenever my mom split from my dad, it was actually really good for me because even though the man that was living with her now wasn't perfect, he actually spent time teaching me things that I needed to learn as a man.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
What were some of the things that he taught you guys, or taught you specifically?
he taught me carpentry. He helped me build my first skateboard ramp.
Oh,
He would just show interest in the things that I was interested in, and spend time with me doing it. And my dad never spent time doing the things that I was interested in. So
you feel like you had to meet your dad where he was at if you wanted to spend time with him.
yeah, if we spent time with my dad, it was gonna be like doing things that were involved with his work. Um, and my dad, after my dad divorced, he did spend more time with us. He started taking us bowling,
Yeah.
but it was always with other people. It was never like we never spent time with my dad one on one.
Yeah.
And so it was always work people there and stuff like that, and he'd be talking about work. Like my dad never turns work off. It's always on 24/7, 365,
Yeah.
and he's like that till this day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which sucks.
yeah. I think it's like a coping mechanism
Yeah.
for a trauma that's undealt with, potentially. I don't know,
It just
but
sucks because it affected you guys, you know?
yeah,